Now that is how you announce yourself to the Premier League. Hugo Ekitike's performance against Crystal Palace was nothing short of sensational. 4 minutes into the game, he's already on the score sheet with a stunning goal to put the Reds ahead. And from that moment on, he played like a man on a mission. The way he was linking up the play was giving shades of Karim Benzema and Roberto Firmino. We saw exceptional flicks into his teammates, intelligent runs in behind, and a constant threat to the Palace defenders, keeping them on edge all game. In this video, I'm going to break down Ekitike's individual performance, what he did so well, why it worked, and how it might shape Liverpool's attack going forward. I'll also touch on something very exciting about the possibility of seeing Hugo Ekitike and Alexander Isak play together in the same team, and trust me, that partnership could be deadly. Plus, we'll go over some key lessons we learned from the game that prove it's not all doom and gloom for Liverpool after losing the Community Shield. Let's get into it. 4 minutes, 4 touches, 1 goal. That's all it took for Hugo Ekitike to show Liverpool fans and the entire Premier League exactly what he's about. Let's start with the obvious, his goal. It was a brilliant piece of team play that fully deserved the finish that it got. Florian Wirtz drifting out towards that left-hand side, something that we're going to see him do a lot this season. But keep your eyes on Ekitike here. He is not static. He's not glued to that central position. He's already making that run towards the left-hand side in behind the defender. Wirtz spots him as he always does and plays a perfect pass. Ekitike's first touch is pure quality. Keeps the ball close, controlled. Then he plays it straight back out to Wirtz, who's followed up the run. But here's the intelligence of Hugo Ekitike. As soon as Ekitike has played that ball back to Wirtz, he knows he's dragged the defender towards him, and that defender is now fixated onto Florian Wirtz. So Ekitike starts to move straight back centrally, reading the game, knowing the ball's going to come back to him. And again, when the ball does come back to him, that first touch that he takes to take the ball onto his right foot is absolutely elite. It takes him directly into a 1v1 against Chris Richards in a central position. One clean touch and he's in a shooting territory. That's the difference between him and Darwin Núñez, who often needed 2 or 3 touches in the centre of the pitch to really set himself up. Then comes the confidence. He's got options. He's got Salah right next to him. He's got Frimpong out wide. He can play that pass. But instead, he creates separations from Chris Richards, gets the ball onto his rifle, and smashes one into the bottom corner. Right low. Power, accuracy, and conviction on the shot. 4 minutes, 4 touches, goal. And a 6'4" striker should not be moving like that. He shouldn't be moving so gracefully, but Ekitike makes it look easy. That one moment showed exactly what he's going to bring. Link-up play, movement, intelligence, and the finish to match. Now let's look at the rest of his performance. His back-to-goal play. Let's look at an example. The ball comes in the air. He's backing into Chris Richards, who is actually a very strong defender, especially physically. Ekitike holds him off, takes a great touch, and sets it for Florian Wirtz. When Wirtz plays that ball back into him, the ball is still in the air, and he takes another brilliant touch to settle it down for Florian Wirtz, and Liverpool can get into a dangerous position and start building up the play. The next one is pure class. Jeremy Frimpong plays an excellent forward pass towards him, but it comes with pace. Defender on his back, he knows he can't turn, because if he does, the defender has the momentum to win the ball back. So what does he do? He takes a brilliant little flick straight into the path of Florian Wirtz, and it reminds you exactly of what Karim Benzema used to do as a striker, which is why I keep making that comparison. A delicate touch into Florian Wirtz's path, and now he has the space to play the ball to Salah, and Liverpool are on a dangerous attack once again. Liverpool keep possession, stay on the front foot, and they avoid a dangerous turnover. Now, there's been a lot of talk about why Liverpool are interested in Alexander Isak when they've already signed Hugo Ekitike. People are wondering why. But here's an example that says, yes, they can play together. Look at where Ekitike receives the ball, down that left-hand side, as if he's the left winger. He receives the ball from Florian Wirtz again, and he drives at his man. He cuts inside, knowing that's where his teammates are, and he finds Gakpo in a central position. And in another attack, we also saw the ball get played out to Salah. I don't have the screenshot for it, but Salah plays across in. It comes to Gakpo in the center of the pitch, and that's where I would expect Hugo Ekitike to be if he was playing as a left winger. Gakpo wasn't able to finish it, but I think Ekitike would have finished that chance. And a quick note on Gakpo as well. It was a very tough game for him. He struggled to really impose himself physically. He got knocked off the ball a couple of times, which led to Liverpool being attacked and led to the couple of goals that Liverpool conceded. I still think some of the criticism is so over the top, but this was definitely a game where he didn't have his best day. Moving back to Ekitike though, look at his positioning again on this screenshot. Wirtz finds him in space. He takes one neat touch and feeds it straight into Kerkez's path. And now you have an overload because both Kerkez and Cody Gakpo are attacking on that left-hand side. It's simple, it's smart, but it keeps the ball moving. And then you have the example of his off-the-ball play. Watch him close down Chris Richards here. He doesn't foul, he wins the ball back, and he immediately thinks about driving forward. Richards is all over him down that byline, but he's got his shirt, he's got his body, the absolute lot, but Ekitike is able to hold him off. He forces Chris Richards to put in a slide tackle, and what was meant to be a Crystal Palace build-up play has now turned into a Liverpool throw-in a dangerous position, which is exactly what you want off the ball. Now you have his aerial threat example in this game as well. Kerkez puts in a brilliant cross into the box. And look at the leap on this guy. Ekitike literally jumps over two defenders like they're not even there. One of them including Mark Gahey, who is no slouch inside the box. He'll be disappointed that he wasn't able to direct it towards goal, but he was able to create a big chance using his aerial ability inside the box. Then you have another moment where it was Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike. And I'm going to talk about this combination later, but this combination was absolutely brilliant. Wirtz from that left wing plays a clever ground cross. Ekitike peels off his defender into space, strikes it with venom on his left foot. It had great power on it, but it just missed the accuracy. But these are the small margins. And then there's the movement that he has where Cody Gakpo wins the header, plays it down to Ekitike. He turns and he's driving towards goal. And it's funny because at Frankfurt, he probably would have taken a shot here, but he understands he's got excellent players around him. The shot that he was going to take was probably going to be blocked. So he plays that ball out to Salah and he makes the run inside the box. Overall, you could just see the intelligence that he was showing on the pitch, how his touches were so meaningful and purposeful, and it was excellent to watch. And when you look at the numbers, he actually only had 25 touches in 70 minutes. That's very low when you think about it. But here's how it worked. Every touch had a purpose. There was no waste. There was no unnecessary extra touches. Pass, move, find space. 3 shots he had in that game and 3 excellent chances, and he scored 1 goal. He was able to create 0.55 XG from those chances, which shows he was taking the meaningful shots that he needed. 18 passes in the game overall, 16 accurate, only dispossessed once. That is efficiency from our number 9. Where we're used to losing the ball as the striker, Ekitike was keeping it. That's so important defensively and offensively. If I'm being picky, I'd like him to be more involved. Only 4 touches in the box, and with his level of link-up play, the more he gets the ball, the more involved that Salah and Wirtz are going to be in the dangerous areas of the pitch. And off the ball, there's definitely room to grow as well. 1 win from 3 in the ground duels, 2 from 4 in the aerial duels, and only 1 recovery. But Palace went long a lot of times during the game, so pressing chances were probably limited. And of course, Arne Slot hasn't had too much time to really work with him, but once he does, I'm sure he will get it in terms of off the ball play. Alright, let's move away from Ekitike for a moment because there were some other interesting points that we learned from the game. Now I have both the teams, Liverpool and Crystal Palace, on the pitch here in their formations that they played during the game. I'm using the JLA tactical board. Like I've said before, it's an excellent tactical board to really visualize how Liverpool played in that game. First of all, what I want to talk about is Milos Kerkez's role, and it was used in a very interesting way. There were many times where Frimpong was pushed up, and you would see Milos Kerkez almost be like a third centre back at the back, especially on the ball. And as the ball was being moved forward up the pitch, Kerkez would also move his position up the pitch, trying to support Cody Gakpo. A lot of times, Kerkez was finding some good passes. One thing I noticed is he doesn't really like using his weak foot, which is a problem because in terms of trying to build up the play, if he was able to use his right foot more often, it would open up more passing options for him. On an offensive point of view, he's always excellent pushing up on his left foot. But in this game, it was quite interesting because Crystal Palace were playing a 5-2-3, which we've expected them to play. That's what Oliver Glasner likes, or 3-4-3, whichever way you want to see it. Ismail Assar was obviously in this position here, but that meant Daniel Munoz was pushing up a lot. And what Liverpool had a problem with was that when Kerkez was central, there was a lot of space on this right-hand side for Munoz to attack into. And Cody Gakpo was being asked to drag all the way back and follow Munoz. So many times he was getting in behind and it was causing Liverpool issues. That is definitely something Arne Slot needs to think about. Maybe you should keep Cody Gakpo forward so you still have the outlet, and you ask one of the midfielders to come and follow Munoz, or you ask Kerkez to go out wide and you ask Szoboszlai to watch this third man at the back, which is one thing that I've definitely found interesting that Arne Slot will need to fix going forward, because there was just way too much space for Munoz to attack Liverpool down that right-hand side. Now, re-saying it, I just have to say Virgil van Dijk definitely looked a little bit rusty. He didn't have too much of a preseason because of his illness, but overall, I expect him to come back to the levels that we obviously expect from Virgil van Dijk. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Frimpong. Now, Mohamed Salah likes being in this position here where he can get 1v1 against this defender. Maybe sometimes this left wing back will also push back, and at worst is a 2v1. But what Frimpong was doing was that when he was pushing up, he was also bringing this midfielder here, and when Salah had the ball, it meant there was 3 people quite close to Salah, so he wasn't able to be effective. He wasn't able to create separation, and that's because Frimpong is someone who likes to overlap. He likes to be the winger, but Salah also likes to be the winger. So there's definitely something for Arne Slot to think about, that maybe when Frimpong is playing, either you coach him to underlap and stay in these central positions like you do with Conor Bradley, or you ask Mohamed Salah to come inside and allow Frimpong to be the winger in possession in this point of view, and allow Salah to be in these half spaces. Overall, you want to optimize Salah, not really Frimpong. So in my opinion, you ask Frimpong to underlap and be central for most of the occasion, and allow Salah to be that 1v1 guy outside so that he can get 1v1 here and really create separation and cause problems. Overall though, if they can learn and create that chemistry where they can interchange, sometimes Salah's here, sometimes he's out wide, sometimes Frimpong is inside, sometimes he's overlapping, it makes it very difficult for defenders to guess what's going to be the next move. So overall, it's definitely something that needs to be worked upon, and the main issue is just that it's a new player in a new team, and it's going to take a bit of time to create that chemistry that we had previously. Then you have the midfield, and there was a lot of concern over this part here, that they were not defending the areas, especially after the 60th minute. We were giving the ball away so loosely, but that's because when you think about it, both of these players are very offensive. Curtis Jones and Dominic Szoboszlai are both used to being offensive players. When those players will be Ryan Gravenberch or Mac Allister, which was the double pivot that really gave us success defensively and offensively, I think we'll just see it improve, and our defensive work will improve in general. Our transition defending will improve, and the main issue that we had was that these two were the ones who were playing together. When Gravenberch and Mac Allister come back against Bournemouth, I'll expect it to look a lot better in the midfield, especially from a defensive point of view. A main concern was obviously that Adam Wharton had space here because we were so deep. He was able to pick the ball up here, especially when it was 2-1 and 2-2. He was just pinging passes into Ismail Assar in behind, into Mateta in behind, and the problem was Van Dijk and Konate found it difficult in this game to actually catch up to them, so they had a little bit of space to work with. Overall, when the season kicks on and they start playing with more intensity and definitely with more sprints, both of these players will definitely sharpen up. So I'm not too concerned just yet, because when our main midfielders do come back, I'm sure our midfield will look a lot tighter. But there's definitely something for Arne Slot to think about. Overall though, this was a useful game. The Community Shield might be called a glorified friendly, but it's a great way for Liverpool to get up to speed on how the Premier League will work when it comes back next week. Liverpool will be playing with intensity in this game, exactly how we expect it to be in the Premier League, especially with how hard Crystal Palace were trying. We saw the excellence of Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike, both of them working together in tandem, creating a connection with each other, which is no surprise because you have two quality technical forwards who really understand each other already in the first game that they're playing together properly. So that is something definitely to be excited about going forward. There's still a lot of work to do in the transfer market. We're still, I believe, short 2 attackers and 1 centre back, at least at a bare minimum. Even if we signed Isak, we still need another winger, because when you look at it, the options from the bench against Crystal Palace were shocking. Ben Doak, Harvey Elliott and Rio Ngumoa were our offensive options, and that is not good enough for a team that had Diogo Jota, Luis Diaz and Darwin Nunez as the bench options last season. But I do believe going into Bournemouth on Friday, you will see a different Liverpool team at Anfield. Their boys will be ready and they will be producing a fantastic performance for us. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown, mainly looking at Hugo Ekitike's performance, but also some other points of the Liverpool vs Crystal Palace game. Don't forget to like the video, comment your thoughts on Liverpool's season ahead and what you thought about the Crystal Palace game. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know whenever I upload. Thanks for watching and peace.